Okay, boys and girls, today in math, we're going to be taking a look at how to interpret and evaluate some numerical expressions. So we're going to do this two different ways. First, we're going to look at some expressions that are written using words, and we're going to turn them into numbers. And the second way that we're going to do it is the opposite, where the expressions are written using numbers and we turn them into words. So if I'm looking at this first top left box, twice the sum of 3/5 and 1/2, I'm thinking about some math words like twice and sum that tell me what I need to do. Twice tells me that the answer is going to have a 2 times in it, and sum means that I'm going to be adding those two fractions. So the answer to this, when written like a numerical expression, would be 2 times the sum of 3/5 and 1/2. Okay, looking at the problem right next to it, half the sum of 1/3 and 1/4. Well, again, we're talking about the sum of those two fractions, so that's going to look similar. This time we're talking about half of that sum though, and there are two ways that we can show that. We could either show it as 1/2 times the sum of 1/3 and 1/4, or 1/3 plus 1/4 divided by 2. Because dividing by 2 or multiplying by 1/2 will give us the same answer. Okay, the third box, the difference between 1 and 1/3 divided by 3. Well, here's a new word that we haven't seen in a while, difference. Difference means that we're going to be subtracting. So we have two operations in this problem, difference meaning subtract and dividing. Okay, so we have the difference between 1 and 1/3 divided by 3, or similarly to the one above us, we could do 1/3 times the difference of 1 and 1/3, because dividing by 3 or multiplying by 1/3 will give us the same answer. And the final box on this page says 1/3 as much as the product of 1/3 and 6/10. And now here we see the 6/10 written in a decimal form. So not only do we have to write this in numbers, but we have to turn that decimal into a fraction. So you will see that I can write this as 1/3, the product of 1/3 times 6/10 written as a fraction. Okay. The second type of expressions that we're going to take a look at today are numerical expressions, and we're going to turn these into words. So the first one says 2/8 times 1 minus 1/3. And if I look at that in words, and I should only see words, it would be 2/8 as much as the difference between 1 and 1/3. The next box, 1 minus 1/3 divided by 2, written in words, is the difference between 1 and 1/3 divided by 2. Okay, and in the third box, it's very similar to the second box. However, within the parentheses, we're looking at a multiplication symbol. Multiplication symbols mean that we're looking for the product. So the product of 1 and 1/3 divided by 2. And then the final box, 3 times as much, the quotient of 1/2 and 1/3. Now, I know that this video was a little bit quick. However, we have done this before with both whole numbers and decimals. So today what we're going to have you work on, is we did send you home with your math packet before we left the classroom. And I would like you to go in and find the lesson 32 exit ticket. I've taken pictures of it here in case you don't have it. It's both in English and Spanish. However, you only need to complete one side. Choose the language that you want to solve in and solve. If you don't have this paper because you lost it or your dog ate it or your little baby brother used it as scrap paper, that's okay. Use the picture that's provided here and just solve it on some scrap paper, and that's fine. Again, I am going to stress that I do think you should watch this video multiple times to make sure you understand. As a matter of fact, I might even have this video out and ready to replay as you're doing the work, because you might come across one or two problems that you recall, but you can't exactly do independently yet. And that's what the purpose of the video is. After you've done that and you've practiced a little bit, Senora Ortega and I would like for you to go on and complete this Module 4 Lesson 32 exit ticket. It is included in the assignment today, and it is a simple 2-question exit ticket, and it will just give us a little bit of a check-in as to what's going on and how you're doing. We may submit it back to you and ask you to change something. We'll see. All right, so please go ahead and start working on that, and good luck.